interesting. One of my favorite stories of Jesus, also one of the scariest, is when he says in Matthew 25, when they were separating the sheep and the goats at the judgment day, those who made it were didn't get to heaven were the goats, and those who made it were the sheep. And the scary thing about it is they were both surprised. In other words, the people who made it to heaven were surprised they were there, and the people who didn't make it to heaven were surprised they were where they were. So obviously something was amiss here. Religion is not the way we get, or the lack thereof is not the deciding factor. It's a means to an end as to where we end up in eternity. That's the point of Jesus' story. It's a little scary for people who are believers and who are religious, and it's a little encouraging for people who aren't. Jesus said what separates them from one from the other, the sheep from the goats. He said, inasmuch as you did it unto the least of these, you did it to me. People who were hungry, people in jail, people who were thirsty, people who didn't have clothes, the marginalized, the least, he said. When you do it to them, you do it to me. You're building a relationship with him. Now, we all know that we're not going to get to heaven because of doing those things. But we also know that those things matter. And the way we experience Jesus and encounter Jesus is not just through our religious activities, but it's the way we live out our faith and the way we treat the disenfranchised, the marginalized, very politicized, how you help issues like social inequities, racial reconciliation, women's rights, highly politicized, all the political parties, Green Party, Democratic Party, Republican Party. That's not why we do it. All that's good, what they're saying. But the motivation for you and me to do it is because we're doing it to Jesus. And that's a huge deal. That's the motivation. You can't legislate hearts change. That's something God's Spirit does. I'm here dropping off some stuff with Aunt Judy, and wife Jan at the Salvation Army here in Ashe County. It's a way to help the least. There are lots of opportunities to do this. Habitat for Humanity, Christian Service Center, Salvation Army. Quick story, just a quick story. We went on a trip, the family, Judy, Jan, some of her family, stayed in Sedona and went to the Grand Canyon. And lo and behold, while we're having all these classes, they had a professor come, it's an educational thing, and boring everybody to death talking about how the canyon was formed. The thing is 6,000 feet in elevation, and it was in May, and it snowed. Nobody brought clothes for that, so they said, look, we're sorry about this, but there's a Salvation Army, and right down the street, we'll get in the bus if you'd like, and we'll go buy coats. So as soon as they said that, everybody's bored stiff. The ladies all perked up going shopping. I found out that the Salvation Army in Sedona is a cut above all the rest of the Salvation Armies I've ever been around. And so we all piled in a bus, and very few men went. I think it was me and one other guy, but every woman in the place looked like they jumped up, got very interested all of a sudden. Shopped extensively in the Sedona for the heavy coats for the snow when we went to the canyon itself. And then ladies, Judy and Jan happened to be here with me. Come up and tell us a little bit about how did you find the trip to the store? How long do y'all think we stayed there?
Oh, it must have been an hour, a good hour. We had to try on things.
It felt like 3 or 4 hours to me, but nevertheless, I also purchased something. They were just like $5 for these nice coats. Would have a lot better brand names than I normally wear. Refresh my memory. Once we purchased all of these clothes, what did we do then, ladies?
We had a fashion show.
Wonderful fashion show in the hotel.
Went back to the hotel, and all these women were gathering and having fashion shows to enjoy it. So you get a lot of joy supporting Salvation Army and supporting ministries like this. And I think I got a woolly cap. We left everything there at the hotel. They probably took it back to the Salvation Army and let them recycle it.
And then people at the Grand Canyon offered to buy my hat.
We could have resold the stuff in the snow there. Great joy in serving in the kingdom and in making a difference with the least. You do this. How are ways you can help the least, the marginalized, those who are pushed to the side? You do that, you're doing it unto Jesus. You have a great day.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me, and like a flood His mercy reigns, unending love.